Okay, so grab a journal, grab some tea, do the things that bring, yeah, put yourself in a very welcoming space and allow yourself to just be here now, because we're going to be here now for a little bit. And then you're off for coming. I invite you to, as you all are watching this and we're taking the time, I would like for you all to view our engagements. Like, how are we going to flow in this engagement together? So I have created, and yeah, don't judge me, but my lawyer brain can fit. So when I started to create these things, it just happened, continue to happen. So I'm going to put them in the chat for you all, and I invite you to read them. And so by the time I get to, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can put them in the chat. We And we are in a Mercury retrograde, so happy new moon. And also, we're in a retrograde. So, if technology, excuse me, starts with technology, please just, give us some grace because we're in a retrograde. um, and then, quick question for those of you that are watching in the chat right now. Do you all hear feedback on your side? I just want to make sure because we are technically streaming through Zoom. So I want to make sure that you all can hear, and that it's not a double feedback for you all. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, cool. So I put the how will flow through this experience in the chat. I invite you to review it. And know, again, please grab a journal, some water, of course, and get comfortable. We're going to be here together and just be in joy as we also honor this thing called grief, too. Um, And as you get into this space, I'm going to invite you all to place yourselves physically in a space where you can do some grounding. When we get started, we get started at 6:15 or 15 minutes after the hour, depending on where you are in the world. And just thinking about what have you been breathing and allowing that to be present with you today. This is a space to honor your grief. So I'm going to ask you to be in this space where you find peace and where you can really be with what you're grieving, whatever it is that you're grieving. And then allow that to be with you as a friend, as a companion. Grief isn't the worst thing ever. Sometimes you make it seem like grief is terrible. It's not. It's a part of our human existence. It's how we grieve that matters, not the fact that we're grieving. So for the next 5 minutes, I just invite you to allow that grief to be here in your heart and allow it to you to feel it in your body. And I promise we're going to work through it. We're not going to let it stay there. We're not going to just have you be there with your grief and holding it. We're gonna move that grief and honor it. But we can't honor something that we don't bring up. Also, shout out to Raquel, which is this beautiful being that is here with me with her samples. She's going to introduce herself later on in the segment and bring you all some sound bowl feeling, and we'll do some meditation. Um, but yeah, I wanted you all to know who this beautiful being is. I'll introduce her more as well later. But just so you're like, she's just talking like this person isn't on the screen. I know this person, and I look forward for you all to knowing this person too. Also, because this is an option, if you all want to engage via the Zoom, I can put the Zoom link in the chat. And if you want to do this work in the Zoom call and I get off the live, we can do that too, because it's whatever you all want. So that's an option. If you want to just stay on the live and talk on the chat, that's cool. But I can also put the Zoom link in, and if you all want to hop in this Zoom, we chat that way. We can do that too. So I'll put that in there in the chat. You all can make that decision for yourselves. All right, beautiful beings. It's 6:15, so let's get started. And I would like to get started before we go into what we're doing and how we're doing it and lay out the experience. I always like to start with gratitude and grounding. And so, for the gratitude and grounding, I would like to invite you all to ground either if you're sitting if you're sitting on your bottom and you are on the floor, then I invite you to bring yourself into your seat and bring your shoulders away from your ears and erect your spine and invite your entire body to be here and now. I'm not asking you to do anything movement yet, just be here and now. And you're checking with your body and see what your body may need. And just listen to your body and allow yourself to feel your body and hear your body and whatever your body is saying. From there, I invite you to have your stomach engaged and take deep breaths. Just notice your breath. That's it. Notice your breath. Notice your inhale and your exhale. Notice that you may have a tension somewhere in your body, or you may feel really light somewhere. Just honor that feeling. Inhaling and exhaling, honoring whatever comes up. And as you are inviting yourself to be fully present and you are to be present, I'm going to invite you to do a mudra. So mudras are hand movements or things that you do with your hands that invite certain energy to move through the body. And a lot of times when we are grieving, we are dealing with the self-trust and how we're trusting ourselves and moving through our grief and moving through these things. So one of these really cool movies that I've been doing lately is the one for self-trust. And the one for self-trust is you take both your hands, you put them together, and then you're gonna bring your index up, and then your ring fingers are touch right here, and then your bottom fingers are there, your thumbs are here, and then you bring it into front of your chest. And you're gonna hold these hands in front of your chest, inviting the energy from your hand and your chest to balance and come from each other and to bounce off each other because you have everything you need. But a lot of times we forget to trust ourselves. So you're not gonna put your hands on your chest. You're feeling the energy from your hands to your chest. And then I invite you to inhale and exhale, holding your hands and allowing yourself to inhale and exhale from the top of your head down to your toes. With each inhale and exhale, allowing yourself to say, I trust myself. I trust my choices. My choices do not cause harm to myself and others. Allow yourself to feel the energy of non-harm. Allowing yourself to feel the non-harm through your body and what it feels like to flow through the body. That trust. Can you give your trust a color? And allow that trust to flow from the top of your head down to the soles of your feet every time you inhale and exhale. And this is you allowing yourself to be with yourself in a trusting way. Wrapping yourself with that trust, with that color. and knowing that you're going to give yourself what you need when you need it, and it's not going to cause yourself. I'm going to invite you to take 3 deep breaths today, from the inhaling in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth, from a place of gratitude of knowing that you can trust you. You know what you need. You know when you need to be alone and when you need to be around others. You know when you need to say no and when you can say yes. And allow yourself to feel that knowing with each inhale and exhale as we do it collectively on the count of 3, inhaling in through our nose, expanding our bellies and extracting our bellies when we exhale. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale and exhale. Allow yourself to feel this trust and this knowing that your body has everything. You have everything. You are everything. And you can trust your choices because they aren't harmful to you or others. Okay. Beautiful beings, thank you so much for grounding, being here. I invite you to use that mudra anytime you feel this knowing of trust. Because when we grieve, sometimes we lose trust in ourselves and we forget that. So the mudra. Okay, why are we here? What are we doing? First of all, thank you for being here. Happy new moon. Also, and we're in this Mercury retrograde energy. So if things happen, then it just happens. So I would like to first say that this space is very consensual, and I'm going to ask you all questions. Please answer these questions in the chat if you would like. I would really like to engage with you all, and the engagement be whatever you want it to be. This is me and you. It's not just me and Raquel. So it's interactive. First thing. Second thing, well, first thing is consensual. Second is interactive. Third thing is I would like to tell you what we're going to do and then do it. That is a real question. If you're okay with me telling you what we're going to do, please in the chat, let me know. I'm going to do it anyway, but I just wanted to ask just to make sure y'all are down. And this is practice on consent. I'll Also, okay, so I would like to, we did our grounding. I would like to check in. I've already put the check-in questions in the chat. I would also, from there, we're going to talk about what is grief, the various phases of grief, and not go into depth with them, just like what are they and how we experience them, how they show up. But we're going to spend a lot of the time talking about joy. And we're going to talk about joy because we don't talk about joy as a practice like we do the practice of gratitude. And we're going to do that. Raquel will play sound bowls and I will guide you all through a small meditation. And then she's going to keep playing and you're going to continue doing that meditation, but it's going to be without me talking. We're going to come back. I'm going to invite you to journal and to be able to integrate what you're talking about or what brings you joy. We're going to talk about how do we create rituals of joy, and then you'll have time to ask questions at the end and figure out how to support us. So checking in, I'm Fatima. I am the co-birther and chief of Love and Healing Work. I'm taking this call from Mérida, Mexico, at a restaurant that is gluten-free and vegan. I found on my adventure. And I am releasing the idea of I don't of the fear of being big and letting people see me for real. Like I don't do it. So I'm releasing this fear, this not even fear, this thing that is keeping me from writing books and really engaging people in this work for real. Because I'm just like, oh, people, humans, and this new moon, I am bringing back some practices of like just making sure I'm eating better because I came to Mexico and kind of lost my mind, but my body said it was okay. And this new year of really connecting, this new moon, I'm connecting with other human beings in a way that I haven't in a long time. And so this new moon is like also a Mercury retrograde. So releasing what doesn't serve me, resting, rejuvenating, and not procrastinating on doing the things that I've been called to do. Thank you all for listening. Um, you all are amazing. And thank you all for sharing in the chat. Raquel, would you like to introduce yourself or check in? Would you like to check in, Raquel?
Hey everybody, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Am I echoing?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi everybody, Raquel checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina, and how I show up in the world as a reproductive justice birth worker. So, grief is definitely a part of that work, along with the joy in supporting people around one of the most life-changing events in folks' lives. So I'm happy to be here and happy to share with you all.
Thank you so Thank you so much, Raquel. Okay, so let's dive into it. Grief. There's various steps or parts of grief, and a lot of times there's a lot of books on grief. And so, if it's okay with you all, I would like to share with you all my journey of grief and why we're here in this way. I'm 37. Well, I'll be 37. Good Lord's willing. The creeks don't rise on January 30th, and I have in 16 months lost over 11 people, and it was I had never lost as many people that I did in 6 months. It was 7 people in 6 months, and it was like a crash course into grief in the way that grief brings up a lot of things, not just a person dying and leaving this earth side, but when we start that process, we there's a not just a denial and anger around them, but then it's like a denial and anger around the other things that we've lost, right? So for me, I don't have a partner. I'm not married. I don't have children. I thought I'd be birth kids and I'd be doing these things. And I didn't even know that I needed to grieve the idea of the future that I want. And then grieving the fact that like I didn't know a lot of things for a lot of years and I was walking around stupid and I harmed myself and other people because of that. And I had to grieve that. And then relationships. I organized for years and was mistreated and did not know I needed to grieve the relationships that ended, the friendships that ended, the deaths that occurred, right? And so I was like, I had to learn to grieve, and then also because life is about duality, and I practice one of the spiritual practices I do is Buddhism, and in Buddhism, it's knowing that suffering is going to happen, but how you suffer matters, right? And so grief is a form of suffering. Like we're suffering because someone died or something ended, something is no longer there. Because there's something no longer there, there's all of these emotions and feelings that aren't just that, but are also other things happening at the same time. Okay, so if we don't have all this heavy stuff, can we not have light too? because there's darkness and there's light. There's winter and there's spring. There's these dualities that we can see in nature. So why can't we have the same duality? A lot of times, us humans, we forget to look to nature for examples. Nature is the best example. There's every new moon cycle, there's a new moon and there's a full moon, and then the moon ends, it goes away. So that means that we get to see something be born and something die every moon cycle, right? We get to see the sun and we get to see the night. Why is it that we can't be angry and mad and hurt and sad and also enjoy our life, enjoy the present as a gift it is? Why not allow ourselves to cry and feel that darkness and also eat your favorite food, listen to the song that brings you joy, do the thing that makes you smile from the depths of your entire being? Why not? Why only be in the depths of darkness only? Because when we think about grief, that's what it is. It's like, I don't want to be down and sad. Okay, but why not? Why not allow yourself for a time period to feel the feelings? Because the best thing about the universal truth is all things that begin end, even emotions, good, bad, or indifferent. So if I am feeling overwhelmed, right, then why not sit with that overwhelming feeling and with a regulated nervous system? That's why I asked you all to ground, because when we regulate our nervous system, we're a knowing now because we're in our full bodies. So if I'm here and now regulated, then I can feel when I'm going into this grief cycle and darkness is coming. And then I can also choose how I engage with it, because now I'm moving from a regulated nervous system. When we're unregulated, we make a whole lot of terrible decisions. We usually harm ourselves and other people when we're not moving from a regulated step. And grief takes us out of regulation if we allow it to. If we don't allow ourselves the time to breathe and check in with our bodies and just see what's going on, then we don't even know that we're grieving. So that we can't even meet that grief with the, hey, I see you, you're valid, I'm glad you're here, and thank you. We can't do that if we're not in the body. So first, it's saying, am I regulated? How can I regulate myself? And then when we regulate ourselves, it's like, okay, then what brings me joy in this regulation? Because I'm gonna feel these feelings, and I know these feelings are gonna end. I'm not rushing the ending. I just know they're gonna end. And when they do end, how do I bring joy into this practice? And they don't even have to end. But you're not trying not to feel the grief. We're saying the grief is coming, it's rising, and also, not an or here. Because we live in this world that says it has to be an or. How do we miss the person? Feel this whole, right? And also the fact that we nailed this assignment that we've been working on. We created this beautiful thing that we've been dreaming of creating. We got an experience we've never had. We got to dance in the rain, or we got to see somebody we love. We can hold both. And it doesn't have to be where we quantify it and make it seem like it's good or bad to grieve. Grieving is a natural occurrence of life. We're emotional beings. It's how we do it that matters. So, as a practice, I'm going to invite you. When we started this, I invited you to bring in the joy. I mean, to bring in your grief. I want you to think about the thing that you're grieving about, just one thing, and not the thing that brings the shaking in your body, but the thing that you can hold right now. You don't got to bring the biggest thing you're grieving, but a part of your grief. And I want you to, as you think about the thing that you're grieving, I also want you to think about something that brings you joy. So I want you to hold whatever thing that you're grieving and acknowledge it, And I don't want you to like try to get rid of it. I want you to acknowledge it if it feels right for you at this time. And then I also want you to bring in this joyous thing and allow the thing that brings you joy to exist as big as your grief. And as you do that, we're gonna move through. Raquel's gonna start playing, and we're gonna start with the you all holding the thing that you're grieving and taking deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling, and honoring where that grief shows up in your body. Allow the grief to show up in your body wherever it shows up, and then breathe in and your nose, expanding your belly, and then contract through your mouth and allowing yourself to feel the grief and breathe from the top of your head down to the toes of your feet and let yourself go. Inhale and exhale and allow yourself to release the thing that you were grieving. Place what you were grieving in a beautiful box and have this beautiful box somewhere in a beautiful space in a beautiful room on an amazing shelf. And you're not throwing it away, you're not putting it away forever. You're just allowing yourself to have this box where when your grief gets too much, you're able to just put your grief in a box on this beautiful shelf and sit it there. And inhale and exhale, knowing that the grief isn't gone. It's just, it doesn't have to be the thing that you hold on to all day, every day. And then take 3 deep clearing breaths, inhaling in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth. And with each inhale and exhale that you take, I'm now going to invite you to imagine the thing that brings you joy. Allow yourself to feel the things that bring you joy in your body, whatever that is. Is it dancing in the sun, in the grass, with no shoes? Is it your cup of coffee? Is it a book? Is it laughing at a comedian? Is it watching a show? What brings you joy? Can you allow yourself to see yourself in this joy and feel that joy? And allowing you to be here and now with the grief that you know is on the shelf and also this wonderful, amazing joy. I invite you to take a couple more minutes seeing yourself in your joy as you also recognize that there's grief. I invite you to just take a couple more minutes, allowing yourself to be in gratitude for what your grief has taught you, as well as what joy can bring you. And I'm going to invite you, if it feels good for you, to smile, to allow yourself to smile as you're seeing yourself do something that brings you joy. Because smiling is a practice too. So I invite you to smile as you wrap this part up, as you honor the things that bring you joy. Thank them for bringing joy into your life. And then when it feels good, I invite you all to just come back into this space and grab something to write with. Thank you, Raquel, for playing. Raquel is amazing. So Raquel is all the things, and not just a birth mother, a mom, an entrepreneur, one of my really great friends, and owns a business. So if you need things for other people or yourself that deals with wellness and health, she's also, I call her an herbalist because I mean, she is. So I'm gonna have her put her information in the chat, and then I'll share it with you so you all can support her in her work. That's Raquel. Now, thank you all for doing this practice. In your journals, I want, if it feels good for you, I would like for you to write down the things that you saw that bring you joy, and for you to say, and for you to acknowledge that when I grieve, I can also do blah, 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 because it brings me joy. I can grieve and have joy. This is what brings me joy. And I want you to write out the things um, that bring you joy. Write them down. And so, because if you write them down, now you can remember, and now you're building trust with yourself because you've seen it, and now you're writing it down. And we're gonna take. I want to give you all like 5 to 7 minutes to really write down the things that bring you joy and acknowledge what's going on in your body as you do that, because we're talking about grief and this joy. So your grief may be like, hey, don't forget about me. You're not forgetting your grief. You're honoring your grief. But in this moment right now, I want you all to honor the joy, because we honor our grief, and we may do it in ways that cause us harm because you're not bringing in the other side. We can honor our grief when we're full. A lot of times we're not full trying to honor our grief. The joy helps us be full so that we can sit and be with the grief, or the practice of pleasure, or the practice of gratitude. But in this moment, we're talking about the practice of joy. So I invite you to take up until 51 minutes after the hour. If you haven't heard the new Andre 3000 album, I feel like this is probably a good time to listen to it while you all journal. I'll I'll put it in the chat for you all to maybe play a song or two. Well, a song because most of the songs are really long while you all do this. And yeah, so I will come back in 6 minutes, and I look forward to hearing what you all have come up with. Please take 3 more minutes to wrap up. We have 3 more minutes left of what brings you joy. And again, it can be anything, but we're going to honor what brings us joy right now. All right, beautiful beings. Thank you. I'm going to invite you all to come back and from your journaling, de nada. And I want you all, I'm inviting you, I would like to extend an invitation. So we're talking about embracing love and healing, embracing grief with love and healing with the practice of joy. And we're talking from this place of knowing that grief is going to happen and we're going to grieve something. Having, I like to say, templates or scripts for things that work for you is important. We don't have to recreate the wheel. You don't have to try something new. You can do things that already work for you. Instead of reaching for something else, why not do the thing that you know brings you joy? And you writing the things down that you know brings you joy allows you a reference. There's any reference points now, right? Because now when things start getting rough, you can allow that to happen. You can allow that feeling to rise and fall. And again, if it gets too much, you can put it in this beautiful box on a shelf. And then you can go to a practice that you know works. And you know it works because you know you better than anybody. And a lot of times before grief, we do things that don't bring us joy. We put ourselves in situations that cause us harm and that we're not in consent with. So allowing ourselves to consensually be in a relationship with ourselves allows us to consensually engage with our emotions no matter what it is. Grief is just another emotion. And we give it a lot of power and we give it no power. And really, it just is. It's not good or bad. It's a part of the experience. The question is how you experience matters. So the things that you wrote down that bring you joy, those are your backfalls. Instead of doing the things that brings you harm, some of us emotionally eat things that, our bodies don't like. Sometimes we may soothe ourselves with drugs or alcohol or sex or being busy or working all the time. We will self-soothe with things that cause us harm instead of the things that bring us joy. So the things that bring you joy can be rituals. They can be things you do every single day until you feel full enough where you don't have to continuously do that thing every day because joy is just a part of your life. Because what ends up happening is we tend to try to reach and find other things instead of making something a ritual so that when something terrible or big does happen, we're not floating and we're not all over the place. We have grounded ourselves in the things that bring us joy every day. Some of us have rituals in the morning, at night. Why not each morning and night bring something that brings you joy? And in the middle of the day, do something that brings you joy. And when grief hits, you're already doing these things that bring you joy. Because people are going to die. We're going to lose experiences of things all the time. The question is how we do it matters. We are responsible for us. But we have to trust our choices. And we have to trust that the choices that we make aren't going to cause us harm. And we have to trust that we can meet the grief, the heaviness, the darkness, the tears, the loneliness, the oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. We can meet those things with joy. Like, oh man, my grandma has dementia, real talk. She's my favorite person in the whole world. She raised me. And having to grieve that relationship was hard. And also, I have joy because I got 35, 36 years with my grandma, 30 years of me really remembering her. There's joy in that. Is there sadness? Is there denial? Was there all those things? All those things existed, but I didn't allow them because I have a choice. We all have choices. I chose to be in joy. Enjoy your joy. But allowing yourself to honor joy. Honor that joy can exist. I don't have to just say, oh, my grandma's not here anymore. And so because she's not here anymore, I'm gonna not find the joy. But I can, that's a choice. My grandmother, just her existence bring me joy. She's an 84-year-old Black woman who was a teenage mother in the United States. I can find joy in her story. The people that have died, I find joy in what they brought to me. Even if I didn't like it, I could find joy. And even if it's not in them, I find joy in myself. You have joy in yourself. So things that you wrote down going into this new moon, I invite you to make them rituals. For the next new moon, which is a 28-day cycle, I invite you all to do one of those things on your list a day. Doing those things once a day allow you to practice joy. It allows you to experience the joy in your body. You deserve it. You deserve joy. The heaviness of the grief is going to be there, but it doesn't have to be the only thing there. The lightness of joy, the lightness of collective grief, and knowing that you're not alone, joy. It's a beautiful experience if we allow ourselves to experience it, the duality of dark and light. And then coming into the middle to realize that, you know, not so great things are going to happen. And we get to choose how we engage with them. And I'm going to close with this and then open up for questions and comments or concerns and anything else you want to know. We can choose to move through the world, experiencing our emotions without harming ourselves and others or the planet. It's a choice. And I'm saying this as somebody who was a cutter for 10 years and I haven't harmed myself for 12 in that way. But I had to unlearn practices of self-harm because we live in a self-harming world. We live in a world that says harm yourself for the sake of other people. Harm yourself and go to work in environments that don't serve you. Harm yourself by working really hard and burning out. Harm yourself by not acknowledging that you're grieving or acknowledging the world was locked down for 3 years and that people have PTSD and their nervous systems are irregulated. We live in a world that says harm yourself first and then you'll get all of these things later. I'm inviting you to put you first now and say, I don't have to harm myself because I'm grieving. I can be still and with myself, and I can feel the heaviness of this loss, and I can have joy. We can do it all. We don't have to choose one or the other. So I invite you to take these practices as your practice. Inhale and exhale, knowing that there may be some tension in your body, but all is well and you are safe and you have everything you need. And we don't have to. We don't have to engage in these things because you deserve it. So I'm closing with this of inviting you to maybe share your joy practices with us if you want to in the chat. Um, my joy practice is I dance because you know you can do a really good dance. You not like if you dance really like to a Prince song or something, it helps. Dancing, um, walking. I love yoga. I love sitting in silence. I love not talking to people. Not talking to people sometimes brings me joy, especially when you talk to people all day. Ooh, I love watching what brings me joy is real humans laughing. Love that. But really giving myself time and energy and attention every day brings me joy. Like me allowing myself to do that is my ritual of joy. And I've been doing these rituals before I started losing people. And I realized that those practices have helped me in the midst of my joy. So I was gaining these tools. So I'm inviting you all to use the tools you all have because you all have them. Take the tools of intentionally knowing what brings you joy and then doing those for the next moon cycle. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now. Do you all have any comments or questions or concerns before we close out and we ground in our joy as we are honoring our grief? Thank you, Sky. So what I get is you all are really into y'all's practices and you feel really good about them. Thank you all for being here. Okay, great. So let's close because you all seem to like, which is cool, but just energy and the Mercury retrograde is calling for us to rest and like sit with it. So I'm, I'm, I'm loving the vibe. So this is what I'm gonna invite you to do. As we close out this space, um, I want to first say thank you for being here and choosing you in this way, and choosing to listen and engage around grief. I invite you all to stay connected with love and healing work with our subscribing to our newsletter. Um, you can also book one-on-one time with me. I have on our website, self-love work. You can do a Let's Connect, which is just a complimentary 4 to 5 minute session with me. If you can't afford to do the hourly rate, that's cool. I would rather help you in your journey and figure out how your journey can continue than to be like, hey, because you can't pay for it, we can't work. So we can always figure it out because bartering is real. Um, but I would love to help you on your journey. And you know that you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to, even if it's not with me, you please find a tribe. Allow people to know that you are grieving. Say out loud to other people you are grieving. Honor your grief out loud. Don't be afraid or shameful or guilty to say out loud, I am grieving. And because I'm grieving, I may not be able to make this decision or do this thing or engage in this way. Can you help me, please? And it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to tell people that you're grieving and you need help and that you need patience and you need grace and compassion because you are grieving. And then give that same grace and compassion that you're asking from everybody else, give it to yourself because you're grieving. And sometimes decisions and things are not easy to make when we're grieving. I know. You're not supposed to make big decisions or spend a lot of money. And I did both. So I invite you to be honest with the people in your life about you, because that's another way of not causing harm. You're creating an expectation and you're creating consent with yourself by being honest enough to say, I'm grieving and I can't do this right now, or I don't have the capacity to do this right now, or I'm grieving and I need to take care of myself. Do all those things. You can do it. You can tell people what you need and you'll get it. You can tell people that you're grieving and they're going to get it, or they won't. And if they don't, they're not for you. So either way, as Brandon Ross says, everybody wins. Because you don't have anybody in your life that doesn't serve you. You don't have to expend more energy with people trying to get them to see you. So tell people and honor it with yourself. And drink water and take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining us. Happy new moon. Be mindful of yourself. Rest. Love on yourself deeply, consensually, and non harmfully because you can. Thank you for being here. I love you all. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Love.